The air was thick with an eerie stillness as I embarked on a solitary night drive through the desolate countryside. The moon hung low in the ink-black sky, casting feeble shadows on the winding road ahead. The only sounds were the faint hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. I'd always found solace in the quietude of night drives, but this particular journey would unfold into a chilling encounter that would forever haunt my memories. As I navigated the winding roads, a thick fog began to envelop the landscape, reducing visibility to a mere few feet. I pressed on, guided only by the dim glow of my headlights cutting through the mist. The solitude was both comforting and unsettling, like being cocooned in a world of my own making. In the distance, I noticed the flickering lights of an old gas station. Relief washed over me as I pulled in, hoping to escape the oppressive isolation of the foggy night. The gas station seemed frozen in time, its neon sign buzzing with a faint, intermittent glow. As I stepped out of the car, a cold breeze whispered through the air, carrying with it an inexplicable sense of foreboding. The gas station attendant, an elderly man with weary eyes, emerged from the shadows, moving as if burdened by the weight of untold stories. His voice quivered as he warned me about the road ahead. "Son, this stretch of highway has seen its share of strange happenings. People talk of ghostly figures appearing in the fog, leading travelers astray. They say the spirits of those who met untimely ends on this road still wander, searching for something lost." Brushing off the old man's words as mere superstition, I thanked him and continued my journey into the night. The fog clung to the road like a spectral shroud, distorting the familiar into an otherworldly dreamscape. Unease settled in the pit of my stomach, but I pushed forward, eager to reach my destination. As the miles slipped away, I began to notice indistinct shapes in the mist, phantom figures that danced at the periphery of my vision. Each fleeting glimpse sent shivers down my spine, but I convinced myself it was merely a trick of the fog, my imagination running wild in the desolate darkness. Suddenly, the car sputtered and came to a halt. Panic set in as I tried to restart the engine, but it remained stubbornly silent. Alone in the oppressive silence, I became acutely aware of the ominous figures lurking in the fog. They seemed to draw closer, their ethereal forms taking on an unsettling clarity. Desperation consumed me as I fumbled for my phone to call for help, but the signal remained elusive. In the oppressive stillness, a haunting melody drifted through the air, a melancholic tune that seemed to echo from the very depths of the night. The fog parted, revealing a spectral procession of figures clad in tattered garments, their eyes hollow and mournful. As they approached, the air grew colder, and their whispers filled the silence. Their voices told tales of tragic endings, of lives cut short on this unforgiving stretch of road. Frozen in terror, I watched as the apparitions passed through the car, their icy touch sending a chill through my very soul. The haunting melody reached a crescendo, resonating with the anguish of lost souls. In the blink of an eye, the figures vanished, leaving behind an empty road bathed in the cold glow of the moon. The fog lifted, revealing a desolate landscape unchanged by the supernatural encounter. With trembling hands, I managed to restart the car, and it roared to life. As I drove away from that haunted stretch of highway, the echoes of the spectral procession lingered in my mind. To this day, the haunting melody and the hollow gazes of those lost souls haunt my dreams. The night drive that began as a simple journey became an odyssey into the supernatural, a chilling reminder that some roads carry the weight of untold stories, and the darkness conceals more than just shadows. It was a moonless night, and the darkness outside my car's windshield seemed impenetrable. I found myself on an unfamiliar road, surrounded by dense woods that swallowed the feeble glow of my headlights. The silence of the night was broken only by the rhythmic hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. I had taken a detour to avoid a traffic jam on the main highway, hoping to find a shortcut to my destination. Google Maps, my trusted navigator, assured me that this road would lead me back to the main route. Little did I know that this detour would thrust me into a harrowing journey through the forgotten corners of the night. As I drove deeper into the woods, the road became increasingly narrow, the branches of overhanging trees forming a shadowy canopy above. Unease settled in, and I began to question the wisdom of this impromptu adventure. Still, I pressed on, convinced that the GPS knew best. The road twisted and turned, each bend revealing an eerily similar stretch of desolate forest. The sense of isolation intensified, and the woods seemed to close in around me, as if reluctant to let go of their secrets. I could feel the weight of the night pressing against the car windows, and a sense of foreboding crept into the corners of my mind. The GPS, however, remained resolute in its instructions, guiding me deeper into the heart of the forgotten road. Suddenly, the headlights illuminated a weathered sign that stood at the side of the path. It read, "Beware, the lost lane." A chill ran down my spine, but I dismissed it as a quaint attempt to deter adventurous souls like myself. As I continued, the road deteriorated into a bumpy, unpaved trail. The car rattled with each uneven surface, and anxiety gripped me. Glancing at the fuel gauge, I realized with a sinking feeling that I was low on gas. Panic set in as I contemplated the possibility of being stranded in the heart of this forgotten road. The surroundings grew more surreal with every passing mile. Strange, dim lights flickered in the distance, like ethereal fireflies dancing in the night. I couldn't shake the feeling that unseen eyes were watching me from the impenetrable darkness beyond the reach of my headlights. Suddenly, the car stalled, and the engine sputtered to silence. I sat in the suffocating silence, surrounded by the oppressive blackness. My attempts to restart the car proved futile, and a wave of realization washed over me. I was alone, stranded in the heart of the lost lane. With trepidation, I stepped out into the inky darkness, hoping to find help or some sign of civilization. The air was thick with an indescribable stillness, and the strange lights in the distance seemed to draw closer, casting long, ghostly shadows on the ground. As I stumbled forward, a whispering wind carried distant voices, a chorus of murmurs that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the night. Panic seized me, and I quickened my pace, the voices growing louder and more insistent. In the distance, I saw a dilapidated structure, an old, abandoned house. Desperation drove me toward it, the voices now a cacophony of unintelligible whispers. The door creaked open as I entered, the air inside heavy with the scent of decay. In the feeble light filtering through broken windows, I saw faded photographs on the walls, images of people from another era, their eyes staring into the void. The realization hit me like a thunderclap. This place was a relic of a forgotten time, and the voices were echoes of the past, trapped in the very fabric of the lost lane. As I stood frozen in that forsaken house, the whispers coalesced into haunting tales of lost souls and tragic fates. The walls seemed to pulse with the residual energy of untold stories, and I felt an overwhelming sadness that permeated the air. Summoning every ounce of courage, I retraced my steps back to the car. Miraculously, the engine roared to life, and I sped away from the lost lane, leaving the echoes of the past behind. The GPS recalibrated, leading me back to the main highway. As I merged onto the familiar road, the first light of dawn broke on the horizon, dispelling the darkness that had clung to the forgotten corners of the night. The lost lane faded into memory, but the haunting whispers lingered, a reminder that some roads are best left undiscovered, and the night conceals more than the eye can perceive.